Hi guys, my name is Khurram and today I'm going to have video about Entity Framework. Entity Framework is a framework to access database, or we can say to access data from the database. When we are working with the Entity Framework, we perform couple of activities. For example, we design entities, we design the context class, which is actually a session between the application and the database. We perform migration, which means we actually map the entities into the database, and so on. This is also my roadmap for this video, and at the end I will create MVC project to perform some CRUD operation. So let's start. First of all, I have a Visual Studio 2022 and here I will create the new MVC project. So click here, new MVC model view controller, and next. Let's call this one MVC, yeah. And next, I'm using .NET Core 6, and let's create the project. Because it is creating a project, so it will take some time. Okay, now it has created the project, and here I can see three folders: model, view, and controller, which is the main folder in the MVC project. So first of all, I will design entities. For this, I will go to the models, and here I will create two classes. First calls subject.cs, and one more class. Let's call this one teacher.cs. Actually, I am designing two entities, first for the teacher and second for the subject, and after that I will define the relationship between these entities. For the teacher class, I have a text here to save my time. So this is the teacher. These are the very basic properties. See, teacher ID, teacher name, teacher address, and that's all. These are the very basic properties. And similarly, I have a text for the subject, so I will copy the text in the subject. Okay, when we are designing the entities, we have data annotations for validation or to inform or to confirm something. For example, I can add here key. It's a tag which says this is the primary key. Okay, there is an error because I'm missing some packages. So first of all, let's install the packages. Okay, go to the manage package manager, and here I will install first of all MS Core Entity Framework Core. Yeah, not this one, ef.core. This package, and I will install this one. Install. Okay, I will also install the tool package which helps in migration. So this one I will install, and the last package is SQL because I'm using SQL Server. So and this package. So now I have installed three packages: core, tool, and the SQL Server. Let's close this one and let's make it bigger. Okay, so it is a part of data annotations. I can also add annotation like, I'll say table, where I will add name of the table. As I said, I don't need these annotation because by the default naming convention I don't need them, but we can add. There are many others. For example, for the data validation, I can add maximum length, which means how maximum length this subject name can have. I can also add minimum length, minimum length, and so on. Sometime we have to add some special annotations. For example, I will add question mark. I am using Visual Studio 2022, and here I have a default by default substring and the integer both are not nullable. So if I like to make this property nullable, I will add this question mark. And for example, if I have this property nullable and I like to make it not nullable, then I have to add here required, which make the property not nullable. This is how we design the entities. Okay, now let me copy this one for teacher as well. Even I don't need it, but I love to have this one because it make the entity more readable. Okay, now I have design entities which are independent entities because right now there is no relation between these two entities. Next is I will design context class. So for this one I will create the folder context, and inside this folder I will create a class, and let's call this one MVC context. Context is a special class which act like a session. So it has connection string and it has a session between the database and the application. So it will implement db context. Of course there will be error. Okay, no error. It will come. My computer is a little bit slow at the moment, so let's fix this one. It's a part of entry framework core, and here I will define the constructor, and constructor will have db context options, and I will call this options, and will pass to the base class which is actually context class. That's it. And beside this constructor I will also mention that which entities are actually going to map into the database. So I like to map both the teacher and the subject, so I will mention here db set subject, not subject, let's call this one subjects, copy the paste, and here I will have teacher, and let's call this teachers. Let's fix this error, not this one. Okay, so now I have designed the context class where I have mentioned the constructor and which entities are actually going to map into the database. Next is I have to register this context in the dependency injection container, and here this is a program .cs, and here actually I will register the db context file or service. So builder, let's make it bigger. First of all I will say builder dot services dot add db context, and here we have MVC context which will have options, arrow, operation, operator. Okay, let's fix this error. Now I am going to use options dot use SQL server because I am using SQL. Okay, let's fix this error first of all. And here I can pass the connection string here, but more appropriate approach is I have to define the connection string here. So let's do it. Connection string, and here say EF entry framework connection, and we'll pass the connection here, and I have a connection string here. This is my connection string, and I will pass here. So I define a variable EF connection which contain the connection string, and I will call it here. So builder, yes, dot configuration dot get connection string, and here I will pass the variable. That's it. Now I have registered the DB contacts and had defined the contacts. Next is actually I have to perform the migration. Migration is the process where we actually create the table in the database. So I will go to the package manager console. Let's and clear here. So first of all, I will say add migration, and this migration GRATI migration, and let's call this independent. Why I'm saying independent? Because right now my both entities are independent. They don't have any relation to each other. So I just saying independent, and let's run the query. It will create the migration file which actually I will read. Okay, it's taking a little bit time. My computer is a little bit slow. Okay, now it has created a file, and let's read it. It has two options. Portion. First is up and down. Down is to drop the tables if something goes wrong. And here in the up, it's actually creating the table. Subject, for the subject, it says subject ID null able false, right? Subject name null able true. Why? Just because I have set a question mark here. And subject term is null able false because I don't set any question mark here. That's it. That's I like to show that how we can make a property type null able false or true, like that. If we like to make it null able false, then we will add the required annotation. Anyhow, right now there is no any relationship between these entities, so they are totally independent. But if I like to make many-to-many relationship, which means I will add here n, which means a subject can have many teachers and a teacher can have many subjects. For example, if the teacher is primary school teacher, then he or she can have many subjects. Let's implement this relationship. So first of all, in the subject class, I will say props, and here I will have a list of teacher, and here I will call this one subject teachers, and let's initialize new. It means a subject can have many teachers, and I call it subject teachers. And similarly, in the subject class, let's close this one. I don't need this one, don't need this one. Okay, in the subject, in the teachers, here I will have subject, and here, and it means a teacher can have many subjects, and property names called teacher subjects. Okay, so now I have many-to-many relationship where a subject can have many teachers, and a teacher can have many subjects. Now let's create the table, actually create the table. So add migration many to many. Now I'm saying many to many because I actually have many to many relationship. So update data. Okay, update database. That's it. I can add more commands, but I think it's good. Now it's creating the tables into the database. Now it has created. I'm going to Management Studio, refresh, and here is the database. In the database, Actually, I have 4 tables. This is the, we can say, system table which have only the migration history. So it's not related to our entities. However, for our entities, there are 3 tables. Although in my contacts class, I said I will like to have only two entities in the database, but the entry framework's creating 3 tables. This is how the entry framework manage many-to-many relationship. For subject, there are only 4 columns. Just like here in the subject, I have 4 properties, but there is nothing for the last property. Similarly, in the teacher, it also has 4 columns, but there is nothing for the extra relationship. For these extra relationship, entry framework actually create a relational database or relational table where it actually perform. It has foreign keys, so it describes which subject is connected to the which teacher and so on. This is how the entry framework manage many-to-many relationship with the entry framework. Now let's delete this one because I am going to implement one-to-many relationship. So it will be easy if I don't have any table. Okay, I have deleted. Now let's have one-to-many relationship, which means teacher can have only one subject, university teacher or professor. However, a subject can have many teachers, so it's one-to-many relationship. Let's implement this one. So this is the teacher. The teacher, it will have only one subject. So let's delete this one, and so I delete this one, and it's a subject, so leave this one. Yeah, now a teacher will have only one subject. However, a subject can have many teachers. That's it. Now let's again run the command and let's see how it will do it. Now add my migration, and this time many to one. Again, it will create the migration file, and then I will update the database. Okay, update database. Let's close this one because I don't need it. My computer is slow at the moment. That's good. Okay, now it has created the tables. So let's refresh so I can see how many tables are created. Now there are only 2 tables. This is a system table, just having their history. Now there are only 2 tables. For the subject, there are only 4 columns. For the subject, these are the only 4 columns. Why? Because a teacher, they can be a 0 or many teacher. There is no, they can be a 0 teacher. However, for the teacher, there will be a 1 subject. So here, it has created 5 columns. So for the teacher, there are 5 columns. One is a foreign key which contains subject ID. For the subject, there are the only 4 columns. This is how the entry framework manage one-to-many relationship. Now let's have a data so we can apply some CRUD operation. So first of all, physics. Okay, let's have fall credit 5. That's it. Now I have entered the data, and now let's apply some CRUD operation. So I will go to the Visual Studio, and here I will have controller, and then will apply the CRUD operation. So first of all, in the controller, I will create a new controller. Okay, let's call it the empty controller and call this one subject. Okay, so first of all, here I will have an instance of DB context. So DB, it's not DB context, it's MVC context DB, because the database actually and here I will have constructor. Let's fix this error. Yes, and here I will have constructor injection. Yeah, because I have registered in the container, a dependency injection container, so I can use it here. And here db is equal to g underscore db, and here I am underscore db. Now I have an instance, context instance. So let's use it. First of all, I will access all the subjects from the database. So I will call this one OKI enumerable, NUME enumerable, and its type of subject, and let's call this subjects. And here I'm say db dot subject dot select, and here I'm say subjects, all the subject, dot to list. That's it. And I am passing these all subject to the view. Let's fix this. Okay, sorry, my computer is slow, that's why it takes a little time to fix the error. Okay, so now I have created an action method which showing all the subjects. Now the time is to create the view. So let's add the view, razor view, and I will create the list because I will show all the subjects, and then I will use the model subject and MVC contacts. Okay, that's good. Now it will create the view, so we can see all the subjects. It will take some time because it will create shared view, and it will create the index view and so on. Yeah, it's taking time. Okay, that's good. Now it has created the view, and here it has created view for the subject and a shared view. Shared view means layout. So I will go first of all here and just change a little bit. It doesn't need, but I will change. Okay, subject, action name I have said index, and controller is subject. Why I'm doing that? If I will not do here, then in the URL I have to enter subject to see the all subjects. That's why I added the subject in the menu. That's it. In the index I will not change anything, and first of all I will run the application. Okay, and here's the subject menu which I just added in the share layout, and here I can see all the subjects. So it means our action method is working very well. What next? Next is, let's close this one, and next is actually I will in the let's close this one, and subject controller here. Let's create another method which is the delete method, and it will delete a subject. So I will delete this one here. No, subject index method, and here I will just copy this word. I don't need it, but I just want to avoid the mistake. So I will copy, paste. So now I have a delete method, and what it will do, it will first of all will subject, and it will find db dot subjects dot find first subjects such as subject dot subject id is equal to id, and here it will receive an id. So this method will receive an id and will find the subject according with the id, and if there is id subject exists, if it's not null, then it will delete the subject. So db.remove subject and db.save changes. One more thing, it will return to the main method where all the subjects are visible, so we can see that one has been deleted. And I don't need here subject here. That's it. Hopefully it's working. Now let's run the application. Please don't take much time. It's actually 2:30. That's how my computer is tired. Yeah. So I have a subject. I can see the all subjects, and if I click this one, it's deleted. So it means my both methods are working, the subjects all, and so these both are working where I'm showing all the subject and the second method is delete. Right now what I'm doing is I am writing the all logic or whole logic in the controller, which is okay here because I have only one single table. But sometime when we have a complex system, then it's not a good idea. So let's apply some loosely coupled structure where I actually will create the service. So let me just plug my computer because yeah. Okay, so what I'm doing right now, I am just accessing the database from the controller, and here I'm applying the logic. This is okay here, but it will be not okay when we have a huge application. So one way is to manage is to just create the services. So actually the service will access the database and will give all the results, and controller will only call the service. So I'm going to do this. Let's do that. So first of all, I will create the folder called services, and inside the folder I will create two classes, one for the interface and second for the implementation. So let's call this services, this class I for interface, subject services .cs, and the second class is subject services, which actually implementation. Let's open this one. Okay, and it is an interface, so let's do this one, and it has two method or functions. So first is public and I enumerable, enumerable, and it's type of subject, it's a list actually, and here we'll call it get all subjects. Okay, and let's fix this error. Yeah, and it will also, I can define also another way, but I don't like this because I don't like this the other method because I came from Java, so I like the way this way. So the second method is public void, and it is delete a subject, very meaningful name, and it will have int id. So I have defined an interface which has two functions. First will show the all subjects, and second will receive an id and will delete a subject accordingly. Now let's implement this service here, and it's a yeah, and of course it will show here. Okay, now so first of all I have two methods now implemented, two methods. The thing is, now I will go to the controller and will copy the logic. So first of all I will copy this whole and will pass here. Instead of this one I will copy this one, constructor. That's okay. And for the first of all get all subject service, delete this one, and I will copy this here. Actually, let's make it more simple. Okay, and let's copy from here to here because it's returning the string. So that's it. And for the delete, let's delete this one. This. Okay, and yeah, let's copy the whole, and here yes, I need this one. I don't need this one. Actually, it's asynchronous method because I'm not returning anything. It's behave like this one. Anyhow, now I have defined the two services and also have implemented. The next step is I have to register the service, and where we register the service in the program.cs. Here I will register the service. So let's do it. Builder.services dot add scope. Scope mean actually it represent the lifetime of the instance. We can add singleton, which means whenever anyone will call the service, there will be a instance and it will remain throughout the application. If I add here a singleton instead of the scope, here I can also add transient, which means every time when anyone will call the services, there will be an instance and it will finish after the response. But I am adding the scope which is between the singleton and the transient. Anyhow, this is a scope, and here I'm going to add subject services. Yes, and here I'm saying whenever anyone will call this one, please provide the results from here, or provide this one. Hopefully it's come on, it will show the error. Slow. That's it. Now I have registered the services in the container, dependency injection container. So the services are created. They are registered in the container. Now the time is the controller will use it. So I will go to the controller, and this is the controller. And first of all, I will call this one subject services, and instead of this one, just call this one subject services. Let's fix the error. Yeah, and here I will pause the here. Just like I was using DB context, now I'm using services because I'm not using database directly from the controller now. That's it. Okay, so I don't need this one, and instead of this I will call here iss.get all subjects. Now I'm just using the service. I'm not applying any logic here. So now I have a service, so I'm using in the controller. So if I need the same service somewhere else, any other part of the application, I will use the same. And here again, yes, actually I don't need this one, and let's delete this one. Only will call the function and then return the method, return to the index view. And here I will say iss dot delete subject, and it will pass id. That's it. So now there is no logic here, we are just calling the service. Hopefully it's working. Let's call the application, let's run the application. Okay, so there is no error, everything's fine. Yeah, a little slow, but it's working. Subject. Now we can see the two subjects. It means our first service is working, which names is get all subjects. So the first service is working. Now let's click this one. So now it has deleted. So our second service is also working. Let's delete the last one as well. So there is no subject. That's it. Now what I have done, actually, instead of writing the logic in the container and the controller, because the responsibility of controller is only to respond to the user request. It is the main entry point. That's why. So I have removed all the logic, and instead of the logic, I'm just calling the service. It is more loosely coupled structure. Anyhow, that's it. I think I have done everything which I plan to cover, where I designed the entries, and then I define the relationship. Then I actually migrate I actually create the database by using core first approach, and at the end I applied simple action methods in the controller, and then I implemented the services and use them in the controller. That's it. Thank you so much for watching, and have a very nice time.